These are 5 haunting photos that were taken before death. Numerous objects, both natural and artificial, have gone over the Niagara Falls. These events have been the result of both stunts and accidents, some of which have resulted in fatalities. The first recorded person to survive going over the falls was Annie Edson Taylor, who went over the falls in a barrel in 1901. 72 years previously, however, Sam Patch had jumped from a platform adjacent to Goat Island. An estimated 5,000 bodies were found at the foot of the falls between 1850 and 2011, and an estimated 40 people are killed each year when they're swept over the falls, most of which are suicides. Other figures suggest that the number of suicides is between 20 and 30, many of which are not publicised by officials. The majority of jumps takes place from the Canadian Falls, which account for between 55 and 70% of suicides. Survival rate for the daredevil attempts over the falls is approximately 75%. On October 1st, 1995, Robert Overacker went over the falls on a jet ski to raise awareness for the homeless. His rocket-propelled parachute failed to open and he plunged to his death. Overacker's body was recovered before he was pronounced dead at Niagara General Hospital. Mayinga Nisaka was a nurse in Zaire, now Democratic Republic of the Congo. She died from Ebola virus disease during the 1976 epidemic in Zaire. Nisaka had treated a nun, Sister Femina, who worked at the Catholic mission in Yambuku, the centre of the outbreak. Femina died at the hospital while trying to return to Belgium so a diagnosis on the disease could be performed. The highly contagious and deadly nature of the disease was still unknown when Nisaka treated Femina, and no special precautions were taken to prevent contact with the nun's blood or fluids. 22-year-old Nisaka was preparing to travel Europe to study advanced nursing on a scholarship at the time of her death. She was born in 1954. This photograph is the last known picture of RMS Titanic on the surface of the ocean. It was taken during her maiden voyage at Crosshaven Island, just after the vessel departed Queenstown where it stopped before heading towards New York. 3 days after this photo was taken, over 1,500 people would be dead, and the Titanic would be on the bottom of the North Atlantic after colliding with an iceberg in one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. According to Time magazine, this photo was taken by Irish priest Francis Brown, who sailed with the ship for its first leg of its journey, from Southampton, England to Ireland. The priest would have stayed for the remainder of the transatlantic journey too, having received an offer of a ticket from a wealthy family he befriended on board. When Brown reached Ireland, however, he received a note from his clerical superior, ordering him to return to his station immediately rather than sail on the Titanic. The 1961 US figure skating team can be seen posing for a photo before their flight to the World Figure Skating Championship in Belgium. The entire 18-member US figure skating team was killed in a plane crash. All 18 athletes of the 1961 US figure skating team and 16 family members, coaches and officials were among the fatalities. The loss of the US team was considered so catastrophic for the international sport that the 1961 World Figure Skating Championship were promptly cancelled. In office less than a month, President John F. Kennedy issued a statement of condolence from the White House. He was particularly touched by the disaster. Para skater Richards was a personal friend of the Kennedy family from summers spent at Massachusetts. Mount Everest, at over 8,800 meters, is the world's highest mountain, and a particularly desirable peak for mountaineers. Around 280 people have died trying to climb it. Most deaths have been attributed to avalanches, injury from fall, ice collapses, exposure or health problems related to conditions on the mountain. What's eerie is that not all the bodies have been located. George Mallory was an English mountaineer who took part in the first 3 British expeditions to Mount Everest in the early 1920s. During the 1924 British Mount Everest expedition, Mallory and his climbing partner Andrew Irvine both disappeared on the northeast ridge during their attempt to make the first ascent of the world's highest mountain. The pair were last seen when they were about 800 vertical feet from the summit. Mallory's ultimate fate was unknown for 75 years, until his body was discovered on the 1st of May 1999 by an expedition that had set out to search for climbers' remains. Whether Mallory and Irvine reached the summit before they died remains a subject of speculation. So that was 5 haunting photos that were taken before death. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.